So once again, welcome to Sunil and Rajesh. Of course, we look forward to having Vishwaroop as and when he's able to join. And welcome to the session where we will be completing the theme, the synthesis of yogas and the path of surrender. So purely in terms of progress, of course, we will be doing the remaining shlokas, not 10 of them, but 5 of them in the session today, which should complete the 17 that we have in the synthesis of yogas. Then, just to give you a bird's eye view, we did 18.57 and 58, 56, 57, 58, if you recall, or rather 54, 55, 56 were the ones that were in terms of having each of the yogas tagged to it. So now we look at 18.61, which presents a very interesting mechanical engineering view, if I may say, of the entire matter, because there are some interesting examples given or similes given. Then 8.62 and 63 is in terms of surrender and free will. So it's an intriguing combination of 3 shlokas. And then 18.65 and 66 is the final message that Lord Krishna has. And after the final message, there is this last Arjuna's response saying that he's fine, and we look at that. And of course, we should all know that there are totally 78 shlokas in the last chapter. So we are not looking at those because of the remaining shlokas, the 5 remaining shlokas. 4 of them are by Sanjay, praising the Bhagavad Gita and the fact that he's enthralled having listened to this conversation, and so on and so forth. And the last shloka is, of course, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara, which is something that we have heard on and off or again and again. So coming to 18.61, Ishvara Sarva Bhutana Hridde Sherjuna Tishtati Brahmayan Sarva Bhutani Yantra Rudani Maya. So the mechanical engineering part is Yantra Rudani. We'll come to what it means. The Anvaya is, Hey Arjun, Ishvaraha Maya Yantra Arudhani Sarva Bhutani Brahmayan Sarva Bhutanam Hriddeshe Tishtati. So, hey Arjuna, Ishvara, by his Maya, Yantra Arudhani. So, if you are mounted on a machine, then the machine runs on its own and you do not have any control over the machine. Sarva Bhutani. So all the creatures are as if mounted on a machine. Yantra Arudhani. And this Yantra and Arudhani is the Prakriti that we have. So we are all a part of the Maya and we are endlessly caught up in Maya, like an instrument which is mounted on a machine, and the machine keeps turning round and round and round, and you have no control over the speed of the machine or its start or its stop points. So in the same way, Sarva Bhutani, all creatures, Brahmayan, turning. Sarva Bhutanam Hriddeshe Tishtati. So one is indicating that the Lord, through his Prakriti, through his Maya, is holding all the creatures to a behavior pattern over which they have no control. At the same time, there is an interesting statement being made here. Sarva Bhutanam Hriddeshe Tishtati. So the Lord also dwells in a Hrit means heart. Hriddeshe means the region of the heart. So the Lord is seated in the heart of every creature, but being seated in the heart is, of course, the part of the entire system where the Lord is in your heart, but outside you have Prakriti. So the Prakriti of the Lord makes you behave in patterns as though you've got no control over yourself. So you are Yantra Arudhani. So an interesting picture is being presented here. The Lord sits within you, yet unless you integrate with the Lord, you would be a helpless observer, unable to control your actions because you would be subject to your passion, your anger, and all the manifestations from Prakriti without being able to exercise your judicious control, because your buddhi is also sold away on account of Maya. Your manas is sold away. Your indriyas are sold away. They are all caught up in this entire intriguing illusion or Maya, which is ignorance. We have looked at that aspect. So you're ignorant of the Lord sitting right inside your heart, right inside yourself, and you behave according to the compulsions of Prakriti, which is Maya. So, hey Arjun, Ishwaraha Mayaya Yantra Arudhani Sarva Bhutani Brahmayan, which is, Ishwara is acting in this way, and yet the same Ishwara, Sarva Bhutanam Khrit Deshe Tishtati. Tishtati means Batna. Sarva Bhutanam, in all creatures, the same Ishwara. So there are two aspects of Ishwara, one that sits within you and one that is there outside you, but they are actually one and the same, but it is your ignorance that prevents you from realizing the similarity between the outside and the inside, and you think the outside is the more important and the inside is not important. So when we look at the translation here, we have the Lord dwells in the heart of all beings, O Arjuna, causing all beings by his elusive power to revolve as if mounted on a machine. So yantra arudhani. So I felt very happy when I read this the first time, saying that, look, people are aware that there are equipment which can be made to run and therefore can give the impression of being out of control. So it's a very interesting shloka. And the Hindi is like this. Hey Arjun, मानो किसी यंत्र पर आरूढ़ समस्त भूतों को ईश्वर अपनी माया से घुमाता हुआ भूत मात्र के हृदय में स्थित रहता है. So he is spinning the people in, and yet he is in the middle. So it's like he may be the center of the what's it called, in these merry-go-round. You have these horses which go up and down and the merry-go-round keeps spinning. So you are like the horse which is there mounted on the merry-go-round, but then you are not aware of the center from where all the power emanates centripetally, and you are unaware of the true source of power, because you think that you are the horse which is going up and down, but actually the power is from the Ishvara who's sitting right inside you. So this points to two things. One is a helplessness, at the same time a possible remedy to that helplessness, because the Lord is there within you. And therefore the next shloka says, Tameva sharanam gaccha sarva bhavena bharata tat prasadat para shantim sthanam prapsasi shashwatam. Because the outside world is so elusive in terms of confusing you and compelling you to ignorance, therefore you must take the shelter of the Ishvara who is in your Hrit Deshe, who's in the region of your heart. So it does not technically mean sitting in your heart. It means, within you. So, hey Bharat, Sarva Bhavena Tam Eva Sharanam Gaccha, which hey Bharat means, hey Arjuna, Sarva Bhavena, with your entire being, Tameva Sharanam Gaccha, so surrender to or take refuge in that Ishvara who is sitting inside you. Then what happens is, Tat Prasadat, by his grace, Param Shantim, supreme peace, Shashwatam Sthanam, eternal status, Prapsyasi. So this shloka is indicating a way to get out of this elusive power, because if you are a part of the elusive power, you are like a yantra arudhani. You are mounted on a machine and you have birth, you have youth, you have marriage, you have children. This progression is the progression of the merry-go-round. As we have heard in one movie, Chakki piece, we are all a part of the entire Chakki of life. So we need to move away from that. And the way you move away from that is to pay homage to the source of power within you, and by totally surrendering to that source of power. And that source of power, Tat Prasadat, by his grace, Param Shantim Shashvatam Sthanam, eternal prapsyasi, you will obtain that. So when we look into the translation, fly unto him or fly to him for refuge with all thy being, Sarva Bhavena, with all thy being, O Arjuna, by his grace, Tat Prasadat, thou shalt obtain, prapsyasi, what? Supreme peace, Param Shantim, to an eternal abode, Shashvatam Sthanam. So in Hindi we have, Hey Bharat, तुम संपूर्ण भाव से उसी ईश्वर की शरण में जाओ, उसके प्रसाद से तुम परम शांति और शाश्वत स्थान को प्राप्त करोगे. So we have a problem statement in 1861 on account of Yantra Rudhani, and we have a solution statement here which seems to be accurately matching the problem statement, and therefore you have a way out of the entire illusion. Now we have a very interesting shloka, 1863, which is now summarizing the matter and yet giving Arjuna the free will. So what's the shloka? Idite jnanamakyatam guhyad guhyataram maya vimarshyetad asheshena yathechasi tatha kuru. This is the most amazing shloka that you have. So in spite of the dire warning given earlier on that if you don't Na shoshyasi vinangshyasi, if you recall, Sunil R had pointed out why is that being said. So there was a dire warning being given. If you do not listen to me, you will find yourself in deep trouble. And of course, the more logical reason for being in deep trouble is we are all yantra rudani maya. We are all caught up in that. So the solution set is tameva sharanam gaccha sarva bhavena bharata. And therefore, here we have that this is the secret of secrets. Iti guhyat guhyataram. It is, than which is hidden, it is the greatest of the secret. It is more secret than secrecy itself. So if you look at the Hindi of that, इस प्रकार समस्त गोपनीयों से अधिक गुह्य ज्ञान मैंने तुमसे कहा. एतत् अशेषेण विमर्श्य. Etat, this knowledge is being, you have to reflect on it fully. Asheshena. Shesha is left over. Asheshena is without leaving any aspect of the teaching. Vimarshya, we have that phrase in Hindi, Vimarsh Karna. So Vimarshya is to reflect on it. So this is the advice that is being given. And yet at the end of all this, what Krishna says is, Yatha ichhasi tatha kuru. So though I have told you all these things, please use your own intelligence to decide what you would do. Because I have taken you to the river, but I'm not going to force you to drink. Therefore, in my opinion, this is what you need to do. This is the whole sequence of knowledge, which is, I think, the secret of secrets, or it is even more than a secret, which is why a lot of people don't know the Gita, because of this very phrase. You have to penetrate through and understand the secret of secrets and the greatness of the Bhagavad Gita lies in the statement Yathechi Tatha Kuru, which means that you can follow. I mean, what it actually means in my own interpretation is you can follow Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga or Buddhi Yoga or Raja Yoga or whichever yoga that you feel inclined to according to your Swadharma, according to your nature. But I am not recommending any one particular yoga to you, is one way of looking at it. The other way is, if you want, you need not do any yoga at all. But then I have told you that if you do not listen to me, you're going to be in trouble. But still, I'm not compelling you to take up anything at all. I have given you the entire knowledge. I have presented it to you. Whether you want to take it up further is a matter of your own free will. So coming back to the legend that I had, therefore we find in 1861, there is a kind of constraint. The degree of freedom is being restricted. 1862 gives you a way out of that, saying that Tameva Sharanam Gaccha Sarva Bhavena Bharata. So surrender. But 1863 gives you the free will, saying that this may be the greatest knowledge, but you still have the free will. So that's the interesting sequence that we have in the yellow colored set of shlokas, which we did just now. And let's go to, I'm just jumping back to the final message. So what is the final message? Because after 18.6 is there is no further gyan that is being given by Krishna other than checking out a few minor details. So what is 18.65? So what does Krishna say? He says, Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi satyam te pratijane priyosine. So usually the shlokas in the Bhagavad Gita don't repeat, but this is the first half of the shloka, Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru, is exactly the same as the 9th chapter's last shloka, 9.34, which just for interest, I will read to you and you will figure out that the last second line is different. So I'm going to just chant that for you. The last shloka, just to indicate that it's same. So last shloka of 9th chapter is Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. And then that goes as Mame vaishyasi, which is also the same. Yuktvevam atmanam matparayan. So I would say that the first line and the first word of the second line are the same. From the second word that the shloka in the 9th chapter and this shloka change. So let's look at least the common factors. So what is manmana? Become my-minded, let your mind merge with me. Mad bhakta, become my bhakta. Madhyaji, become a sacrificer, do the yajna. So yaji, bhava, become. Mam namaskuru, do your namaskara to me. Mam eva aishyasi. So when you do all these, you will definitely come to me. There is no doubt about that. Mam eva aishyasi. Aishyasi means you shall come. Now, what does this shloka say? Satyam te pratijane priyosime. Satyam, truly to you I pledge. So this is my promise to you, is what Krishna says. That if you do all these things, which is matmana, madbhakta, matyaji, mam namaskuru, then you will reach me. So this reach me is a pratigya, is the resolution of Krishna. Satyam te pratijane priyosime, because you are dear to me, I am making this promise to you that if you do all these things, you will definitely come to me. Now you may be wondering what is being said in the 9th chapter. So in the 9th chapter, obviously, the first part is the same, but the second part, we'll just look at the minor difference in terms of the, so in the 10th chapter, we have Yuktvevam. So fix your mind on me, that's all the same. Be devoted to me, sacrifice unto me, bow down to me, having thus united your whole self to me. Then it says, Yuktvevam atmanam matparayana, taking me as a supreme goal. So here it's a promise. There it says, just take me as your supreme goal. So I would say that these two shlokas have contrasting end points or end phrases. The first one indicating the further passage that you need in terms of goal. And here in the 65th shloka of the 18th chapter, which you're doing, a guarantee that things will work. So we must actually take these two shlokas together, and I'm indicating that to you by way of the common factors that join the two shlokas. So the translation is, fix your mind on me, be devoted to me, sacrifice to me, bow down to me, thou shalt come even to me. Truly I do promise unto you, for you are dear to me. तुम मच्चित मद भक्त और मेरे पूजक बनो और मुझे नमस्कार करो, इस प्रकार तुम मुझे ही प्राप्त होगे, ये मैं तुम्हें सत्य वचन देता हूं क्योंकि तुम मेरे प्रिय हो. Okay, it's a very strong statement. And finally we have, it's called Bhagavad Gita Charma Shloka. Charma Shloka because this is the ultimate when it comes to bhakti. So what is the shloka saying? Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami mashucha. So the Anvaya is Sarva dharman parityajya ekam mam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami mashucha. So he says, okay, you know, I have told you all these yogas and all, you forget everything. Sarva dharman parityajya. Usko tyag do aap. Don't have to bother yourself. Ekam mam sharana. You simply surrender to me. Because I am the superior force, I am the higher force. You simply surrender to me. Then aham tva sarva papebhyo. I will save you from all the tamasha that you're doing without my help. Because you don't have my help, you keep making mistakes. But if you say, boss, I don't know a thing, you help me, then aham tva sarva papebhya moksha yishyami. I will deliver you. Ma shucha. Ma shucha is do not grieve. So if you recall, this is the exact reason why the Bhagavad Gita was given, because the first chapter is Arjuna Vishada Yoga, the despondency, the despair of Arjuna. And the very first shloka of advice is Ashochayan Anna Shochastvam. This is the second chapter's 11th shloka, very famous one, where he says that you are grieving over things that should not be grieved. Ashochayan Anna Shochastam Pragya Vadam Shabhasate. Yet you are talking like a wise man. Gatasun Agatasun Cha Na Anushochanti Pandita. Anushochanti, do not grieve. The Panditas do not grieve because they know that what is born has to die and what dies will be reborn again. And therefore, you are grieving over unnecessary and foolish matters. And therefore, finally, the message of Krishna ends by saying, Ma Shucha, do not grieve. So abandon all dharmas, take refuge in me. So what it means is do not bother yourself, am I doing karma yoga, am I doing jnana yoga? Though you have the free will to do it, but yet if you feel overwhelmed by the entire message of the Gita, simply say that, look, I am at your mercy, please take care of me. Do that with your heart, then the Lord will take care of you. And that is the final message that Lord Krishna has. So the final message is a very strong message of Bhakti Yoga. We have to remember that. And that is one of the things that the Bhagavad Gita is known for in terms of its emphasis on Bhakti, though there is an equal opportunity. It's like equal opportunity employment, if I can use that very modern phrase, for every yoga. But at the end, given the fact that the relation between Krishna and Arjuna is that of a very close kinship as well as friendship, he says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. So after having heard all this, what does Arjuna say? Arjuna Vacha Nashto Moha Smritir Labda Tat Prasadat Mayachutah Sito Osmi Gadasande Karishye Vachanam Tava. So Karishye Vachanam Tava, I will do as you tell me, because I'll go and fight. So let's look at the word-to-word meaning. So we have here the Anvaya, Arjuna Vacha, Hey Achyuta, Tvat Prasadat, so by your grace, Moha, my delusion, Nashtaha, okay, Maya Smritihi, that is my memory of my usual personality, Labdha, I have regained, Gata Sandeha, all my doubts are dispelled, Sthita Asmi, I am firm, therefore, Tava Vachanam Karishye, I will carry out and I will execute whatever has to be done. So Arjuna said, destroyed is my delusion, destroyed, I have regained my memory through your grace, O infallible one, Achyuta. Right, I am firm, dispelled are my doubts, I will act according to my word, which is exactly what the purpose of the Gita was, which is to get Arjuna to fight. And therefore we have in the Hindi, Hey Achyut, आपकी कृपा से मेरा मोह नष्ट हो गया है और मुझे आत्म विषयक, सत्य विषयक, कर्तव्य विषयक यथार्थ ज्ञान प्राप्त हो गया है। मैं संशय रहित होकर उस महत्तम ज्ञान में दृढ़ स्थित हूं और इसलिए आपके वचनों के अनुसार कर्म करूंगा। Open to questions and discussion. Very, very, very strong message. You are speechless when you actually go through the last shlokas. It just holds you together. That's all I can say.
ये गीता में अर्जुन को भारत भी कहा है।
हाँ, because he's a part of the Bharat clan. Bharat is also used for Dhritarashtra. So Bharat is a name that is used for both. Depending on the context, you have to decipher. I mean, Bharat is used only sometimes when Sanjay is referring to Dhritarashtra, because the frame conversation is between Sanjay and Dhritarashtra, which is why you say Dhritarashtra Uvacha, Dharmakshetra. But otherwise, Bharat is normally used for Arjun also.
भारत का मीनिंग क्या निकाला जाएगा?
Bharat is like the Kuru Vamsh, Bharat Vamsh.
People from this land.
No, yeah. So actually, the very, very original forefather of the Kurus was Bharat. Shakuntala Bharat, Bharat rather. Bharat, sorry. And Bharat के जो descendants हैं, उनको भारत बोलते हैं. Bharat is also the land, so Bharat and Bharat are kind of synonymous. Okay, so yes, Sunil Rastogi, what are your thoughts?
नहीं, ऐसा मतलब कोई इसमें कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं है सच, बट ये कि फाइनली अर्जुन ने एग्री कि भैया तुमने जो बताया सब समझ में आ गया, मुझे करना ही है. आपको जो भी आपने बताया मेरे को सब रजिस्टर हो गया, अब मेरे को एक्शन लेना है. उन्होंने अब फ्री विल भी अपनी वो बता भी दिया कि तुम फ्री भी हो, कर भी सकते हो, चाहो तो तुम है. एक जगह डराया भी. फाइनली भगवान ने कहा कि अब तुम्हारे ऊपर है कि तुम जैसा चाहो वैसा डिसाइड करो. तो अर्जुन ने कहा कि हाँ, आई एम एग्रीइंग टू इट, और अब मैं अब करूंगा कार्य. तो शायद हम लोगों की स्थिति ये आगे ही है कि सब कुछ सुनने के बाद अब कार्य हमें ही करना है.
Absolutely. So if you want to understand the Gita more, you have to now pick up the Gita yourself and read it.
Yes.
Right. So now let me turn to Sunil ji for his thoughts.
मैं पहले तो सबसे पहले अपनी शॉर्टर समरी बताना चाहूंगा जो मुझको समझ में आया. प्रोबब्ली यू विल बी एबल टू करेक्ट इट. 18.61 में सुप्रीम हर चीज में मौजूद है. वो मशीन वाला एग्जांपल दिया गया है, इल्यूसिव पावर्स की बात की गई है. तो मशीन के एग्जांपल से ऑब्वियसली मैकेनिकल इंजीनियर तो सबसे ज्यादा उत्साहित हो जाते हैं मशीन पर. मेरे जानकारी में यंत्र शब्द बहुत अनेक उपयोगों में आया है, ना सिर्फ मशीन के लिए बल्कि एक जैसे हम पुराने टाइम में चार्टिंग करते थे उसको भी यंत्र बोलते थे. तो
एनी
इंस्ट्रूमेंट मतलब हम मशीन को जरूरी नहीं कि फिजिकल मशीन की ही बात करते हो. हम उसमें मतलब जो हम कंसेप्चुअल ड्राइंग करते थे उसको भी मशीन ही बोलते थे, यंत्र ही बोलते थे वो लोग. तंत्र मंत्र यंत्र जो बोला जाता है, तो ये किसी भी कॉन्टेक्स्ट में लिया जा सकता है. और बेसिकली ये बता रहे हैं कि मैं सबको चला रहा हूँ. मैं का मतलब मैं यहाँ पर बहुत क्लियरली समझ रहा हूँ कि अगर हम वो परमात्मा आत्मा को सिमिलर मानते हैं अद्वैत कंसेप्ट के हिसाब से, तो हम इसको ये भी समझ सकते हैं कि जो मेरी कॉन्शियसनेस है वो ड्राइविंग फोर्स है मेरे लिए. तो वो उस ड्राइविंग फोर्स को मुझे समझना है. और फिर ये भी कहा है कि अगर मैं उस फोर्स को कमिट करता हूँ, 6.2 में कहा गया है, तो अल्टीमेट पीस और एटर्नल प्लेस मुझे मिल सकता है. तो मुझे मतलब उसके बेनिफिट्स बताए गए हैं उसको कमिट करने के. और फिर बड़ी अच्छी बात कही गई कि मैंने बहुत सारे भेद बता दिए तुमको, और अब तुमको सोचना है और निर्णय करना है, ये बात कही गई है. तो मतलब भेद बताए हैं मैंने, सोचना है और निर्णय करना है. ऐसे ही निर्णय नहीं करना है, सोचना है. ये भी बात श्लोक में कही गई है. तो श्लोक बहुत क्रिस्प और क्लियर है, ये साफ नजर आता है. और उसके बाद सुप्रीम को डिवोट करने के लिए एक बात बड़ी अच्छी कही गई, ये भी मुझे भक्ति श्लोक लगता है बट अच्छी बात कही गई कि भाई भरोसा रखो कि सुप्रीम तुमको प्रेम करता है, ताकि ये तुमको ये लगे कि ऐसा नहीं कि मैं तो करने जा रहा हूँ बट मुझको पता नहीं वो क्या करेगा. तो इफ यू कीप डाउटिंग तो वो रिजल्ट नहीं मिलेगा. तो एक्चुअली लव में जैसे बोलते हैं कि लव में परिभाषित करने के लिए आपको कमिटमेंट से पहले ये भी यकीन होना चाहिए कि हाँ लव किया जा रहा है. तो लव एश्योर्ड है. तो सुप्रीम का लव एश्योर्ड है, ये एश्योरेंस दिया गया है 18.65 में. और फिर ये बड़ी अच्छी बात, बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग बात लगती है जिसको इन्होंने चरम श्लोक कहा कि भाई सब कुछ छोड़ दो और सिर्फ ओनली टेक माई पाथ. जैसे मैं कह रहा हूँ या तो वो कर लो. उसके इमीडिएटली बाद वो छोड़ देगा और कह लेगा कि हाँ मैं तुम्हारी मानूंगा, जो अर्जुन लास्ट में आप सुनील रस्तोगी जो बोल रहे थे, क्योंकि उन्होंने कह दिया कि भाई सब कुछ छोड़ दो। तो इसमें रिलीजन छोड़ने की बात कही गई है, बट मैं समझता हूँ रिलीजन का उस वक्त का भी मतलब आपकी जो आप बेसिकली ऑल सॉर्ट्स ऑफ कंफ्यूजन में मत जाओ, मैंने बहुत कुछ बता दिया तुम्हें, यू जस्ट बिलीव। तो अगर मैं कहूं कि अगर ये वापस इसमें आप सुप्रीम को अपनी कॉन्शियसनेस माने तो उस पर भरोसा करो, ये वही बात कही गई है। तो एक्चुअली गीता मुझे लगता है कि आपको फर्दर कॉन्फिडेंस देने के लिए है, और उसी कॉन्फिडेंस को अर्जुन ने एक्सप्रेस किया है कि मुझे अपने बारे में भी पता लग गया, सच का पता लग गया, और ड्यूटीज पता लग गई। ये तीन बात उसने क्लियरली श्लोक में कही है। नाउ आई नो अबाउट सेल्फ, नाउ आई नो अबाउट ट्रुथ, एंड नाउ व्हाट इज माय ड्यूटी, मुझे क्या करना चाहिए, और उस पे जो मैंने करना चाहिए उस पर अब मुझे दृढ़ भी रहना चाहिए, ये भी बात कह दी गई है। तो मैं तो हमेशा जब गीता आजकल दोबारा पढ़ रहा हूँ तो इसके श्लोकों की क्रिस्पनेस और हर वर्ड पे फोकस क्लियरली आता हुआ देख रहा हूँ। ये मतलब राइटर्स की ये भी खूबी है वहां पर कि उन्होंने सारी बातें हर वर्ड छोटे छोटे श्लोकों में ही लिख दिए। मतलब हम लोग जब कोई अपनी राइटिंग करते हैं तो हर वर्ड को स्पेसिफिक नहीं, क्रिस्प नहीं हो पाते हैं इतना। तो ये तो मुझे बहुत अच्छी लर्निंग दिख रही है कि उन्होंने सारी बात कही है और क्लियरली डिफाइन किया है कि क्या क्या चीज मैं सीखा हूं और क्या करूंगा अब मैं। ये भी चीज अर्जुन के भी सेंटेंस में दी गई है। सो दैट्स माय टेक अवे फ्रॉम दिस कि मतलब इट गिव्स अ लॉट ऑफ कॉन्फिडेंस, एंड उसके जो एट्रीब्यूट्स हैं, कॉन्फिडेंस किस किस वजह से आ रहा है, उसके बाद कॉन्फिडेंस आने के बाद क्या करना है, वो भी डायरेक्शन इसमें मिल रहा है।
Sure, sir. Now we are all fully equipped to actually go and handle whatever you want to handle.
बट उसकी रिपोजिटरी में क्या क्या उसकी अकाउंटिंग भी दी गई है, आपके पास क्या क्या है, और अब एक्शंस की लिस्ट भी क्या क्या बनानी है, ये भी अकाउंटिंग दी गई है।
Absolutely. So you see so thanks for that very comprehensive summary, very useful summary, because it indicates I think the fact that the Gita has an uplifting end. It uplifts you.
Yes.
It's not something that has an end which is loose. So it is not loose-ended. All the threads have been tied up. And that is the important thing, because there is one more way to understand the message of the Gita. Because in the tradition of Indian scriptures, the first akshara and the last akshara of any scripture are taken to be representative of what that scripture says. So the first akshara is dharmakshetra, dha. And the last akshara is the akshara that we have in the last shloka, which is Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara Tatra Shir Vijayo Bhutir Dhruva Nitir Matir Ma. So pehla dha hai or last bhi ma hai. So dharam. So it tells you what your dharam is, So if you remove the entire set of aksharas in between and were to understand the Gita purely on the basis of the first akshara of the first shloka and last akshara of the last shloka, it tells you the Gita is about your dharma. And therefore, your dharma is the most important thing that we have to look at, which is what Arjuna also says, because nashto moha smritir labdva tat prasadat mayat chutaha. And then he says, karishye vachanam tava. I will do what you have guided me to do. So I guess, beyond the point, we have to simply absorb the message. But then I think the great learning that you will have in the Gita would stem only from reading it again and again, because that's why it is mentioned that you must do the Parayanam of the Gita. In fact, one of the methods that is given for Parayana of the Gita is on a weekly basis. On Monday, you do 2 chapters. Tuesday, you do 3 chapters. That is 3, 4, and 5. Wednesday, you do 3 chapters, 6, 7, and 8. Thursday, 9 and 10. Friday, 11, 12, and 13. Saturday, 14, 15, 16. And Sunday, 18, 19. So you split the 18 chapters. So you split and you have to keep reading it every week, every day for the message to go in, because the messages of the Gita will cause you to alter your personality. Your personality will get altered, and therefore personality alteration, personality enhancement is not something that happens easily. It happens with a period of time. So Gita is a text along with the Vishnu Sahasranama. These are two which are recommended for daily Parayan. Daily you have to read it, because we have only concluded a little part of the Gita, but the major part of the Gita is still to be done. Of course, we have the session on Tuesday where we look at some 4-5 shlokas which are from the 11th chapter. But they are more in terms of the greatness of the Lord. But the message of the Gita is what we have very, very strongly covered in the themes that we have done so far. So that's what I have to say. Now, of course, there is a chat message that I
wanted to just put before you, Raj.
Yeah,
number one is कि इन कहा है कि तुम संपूर्ण भाव से मेरी शरण में आओ. So तो दैट इज उसका एक्शन प्लान क्या लें. जैसे क्या है एक्शन प्लान में कि पूजा अर्चना में होता है शुद्धिकरण हो जाता है, फिर उसकी अपने अंदर महसूस करो अपने ईश्वर को, क्योंकि ईश्वर का पाठ परमात्मा को महसूस करो. तीसरा सदाचार मीन्स पॉजिटिवनेस वो करो. और इसके अलावा कि व्हाट एक्शन वी शुड टेक एक्चुअली टू उसके संपूर्ण भाव से उनकी शरण में जाने का, वो पॉइंट एक बता दीजिए. और नंबर 2 पॉइंट है जैसे कि उस ईश्वर में कहा है कि साथ देता है इच्छा से, मतलब अपना डिसीजन लो, दैट इज ट्रू. लेकिन सपोजिंग 2 पास दिखाई दे रहे हैं तो एक अंतर्मन होता है, वो गाइड करेगा, कुछ इशारा करेगा कि दिस वन फर्स्ट वन इज गुड. सो अंतर्मन को क्या ईश्वर का वो आवाज माने, दैट्स बस.
So I understand your question. So you see, doing more puja part, which is all external, it will not really help. What is really required in the Gita is to take about chapter 6. You see, chapter 6 is about Dhyana Yoga. It's about that Ishwar which is sitting inside you, like we had read in the 61st shloka. So you must constantly close your eyes and you must try to make contact with the Ishwar sitting inside you. So the way you do that, a very, very simple method of doing that is when you wake up in the morning, it is good because you have slept and you don't have any thoughts during sleep. Therefore, your mind is free in the morning. So after you finish your toiletries, you should sit for 5 minutes and just the simplest way to meditate is just to watch your breath. Saans andar ja raha hai, saans bahar aa raha hai. Right? So just do that for 10 minutes. You will find that a lot of thoughts will start coming to you, but you focus on the breath. If you do this every day, you will find that you are able to slowly and surely able to make the connection with your antakaran. Please understand. You see, doing more puja is external. So, okay, since we are all engineers and we are more inclined towards Jnana Yoga, I'll give you a little hint. Is that going for puja, doing arati is all sthula bhakti. We need sukshma bhakti. Sukshma bhakti means dedication. That is what is required. See, for a Jnana yogi, sukshma bhakti is of greater value than sthula bhakti. Because sthula bhakti mein you do puja, you do havan. If your mind is running all over the place while doing havan, that havan is of no use to you actually. So we should not get into the trap of identifying greater outer activities for performance, but get into internalization. So हमने जो है श्रवण किया, श्रवण मनन निधि ध्यास. This is the time-tested Indian methodology. पहले श्रवण करो तो आपने सुन लिया भाई गीता में क्या क्या होता है, उसका मनन करना है. तो वो जो है सुबह जो है ध्यान योग से ही होगा. और ध्यान योग भी ऐसा कोई चीज नहीं है कि आप मंत्र भी बोल सकते हैं. Popular mantras, Om Namah Shivaya, these are all things which you can just take up. You don't need any initiation because it's a part of the popular tradition. Or you can take the Gayatri mantra. But based on my experience, just watch your breath. सांस अंदर जा रही है, सांस बाहर आ रही है, अंदर जा रही है, बाहर आ रही है. Just watch that for 20 minutes. You will find a lot of peace that you will be able to experience.
Thank you.
Okay, I think Vishwarup wanted to say something.
Yeah, actually, there's an interesting way. Actually, I treat this problem in a different way. The thing is, say, I have a crisis,
Okay.
say, financial crisis. I suppose I know I have expectation. I know this is what is expected normally, but it doesn't happen. It gives me a lot of. It can give you a shock. Then I think, अरे everything is भगवान का चीज है. भगवान को जब इच्छा होगा, he will give. It is not my property. It is his property. He will decide when I should get it. Why worry about these things? It is his problem. It is not my problem. Let him. He will. In fact, he will give me a message, or he will give me time. He will give me a situation where things will be okay. I have to be patient. And you will be surprised, in 95% cases, I feel the problem gets solved by itself. Maybe sometimes within 2-3 days, sometimes it takes 6 months, but it gets solved. That Vishwas, that belief is there. And what you were saying about puja part I treat puja part in a different way. I don't treat puja part just for asking something from God. I treat puja part, I get into God. I try to visualize it. I try to think what you want from me. What is it exactly you have in mind for us to do? Not and lot of thoughts come to me, and then a lot of problems come to me. But I get a solution also. I get a visualization. I understand this is not the right thing I'm doing. This is where I have to be patient. This is where I have to be calm. The calmness which you have incurred, we are not able to get that calmness because we have not come to that level of intellect, whatever. We have not reached that level of God's that level where things can be really calm. When actually, as you go higher up, your brain becomes calm. Your thinking process becomes slow. You try to understand things in the way God wants you to understand. Maybe that somehow when I do puja part, I get that sort of feeling slowly. And you have to keep your mind open. Let people criticize you. That is a message for you to learn. There is something wrong about you which you need to learn from that. And what you feel bad, you delete it. But be open-minded also. These things help in. Actually, these things has helped me.
Yeah. So my point was only this: that if you're already doing a puja and you have a routine and sort of set methodology, don't give it up because you've already done your Sarva Dharman Parityajya. But if you have not started anything, then my submission there is do dhyana, because dhyana is a very time-tested methodology of calming your mind. See, ultimately we have to understand what is the purpose of a puja and what is the purpose of a dhyana. It is to calm our mind and to ensure that we have equipoise. So in a puja, we have methods by which we chant, we say Sahasranama, or we do Archana, or we have offerings. We make food specially and we offer it to God. So all these. So in the process of doing the puja, your mind is calm. So the objective of the puja is to calm the mind, and that is also the objective of dhyana also. So that is what I was indicating. It is not to denigrate the puja at all, but simply to indicate that if you are starting off now, it would be recommended that you do Antakarna Shuddhi through Dhyana Yoga rather than further add more puja, because we have been all doing puja in our own way. If you are already doing a puja, then let us understand every step of the puja and every word of what we are doing. That is very important, because that is where the puja will become different from just a ritual. So understanding what you're doing, what each part of the puja means, is a very important aspect of making your puja really high value puja. Because you can have mechanical puja where you simply do, Gaja, Vakratundaya Namah, Ekadantaya Namah, Gajanaya. That should not be the objective. Very, very serious and sincere is my whole sort of approach to the entire matter.
Raj, again, I'm coming back. Whatever you are saying, that is what We don't do mantra during puja. It is not mantra that is important. It is a visualization. It is a concentration which happens during that puja. That is what helps. In fact, if you do, for me, as far as I am concerned, I do not do puja for mantra shake. I try to visualize something more than that. Because until I get the visualization, that puja doesn't happen at all. That's why it takes a long time. In fact, pranayam and puja concentration, these two are taking place in the same time. Whatever you are saying, that is most important. You have to concentrate on your mind, basically.
Correct.
That is
so
happening.
the end result. Yeah. So the end result is your mind should be calm, whether it is at the end of dhyan or whether it is at the end of puja. If your mind is not calm, then both the practices are falling short of their objectives. That's my point, right? Because each one of us will have an experience, and I cannot debate with the experience, because you have the experience of doing the puja for so many years, and therefore you know the value of that. But we have to keep in mind what the Gita says. The Gita says that at the end of all this, even if you do sarva dharma and parityaja, then the Lord will guide you. But the entire objective is that our mind should be samatvam. Samatvam yoga uchyate. That's the most important thing. If your bhakti and puja is making you more and more emotional, then you need to obviously ensure that it also calms you down. That's my point. That's my point. Because
Actually, it
Yeah,
opens
go
up your. Actually, what happens after puja? You visualize a lot of your faults also. This is where you are going wrong. I mean, it is a visualization. It's more of concentration than of puja, actually. What I'm saying, puja is not puja, actually, basically. You are visualizing your faults also. You're visualizing a lot of conflicts that is happening. You're visualizing a lot of people's problems. You're visualizing what people are saying also. That is also happening. You are visualizing a lot of things. In fact, pranayam also, I spend about half an hour pranayam every day, because that also helps you to calm your mind. So puja itself, puja means not the puja you are talking. You're talking the way you are thinking of puja. That is what is happening. It's not just mantra. It is visualization. It is concentration, actually, which is taking place within the puja. So that's why it takes 40 minutes, 50 minutes. But for a small puja, it takes 40 to 50 minutes. Sometimes it takes half an hour. Sometimes it takes 1 hour also. You forget where you are. You do not know where you are, actually. But you are visualizing your faults. You are visualizing a lot of conflicts. You are visualizing people are coming and telling you these things, and then your solutions are also coming, because your mind becomes calm and you are just receiving messages which are good and bad, and you are judging also from there. That sort of puja, actually, I was trying to tell you. So it is actually what you are saying. It is not puja in real sense. It is a concentration.
आपका mic बंद है. You wanted to say something.
Like, this is connecting to your inner self. Whether you are
Yes.
doing a ध्यान, या जैसे राजशेखर ने बताया कि मॉर्निंग में अपने आप को काम करना, या what you are doing, we are trying to connect our inner self.
Exactly. That's what I am trying to say. Same baat, actually, Rajshekhar jo bol raha है is most logical. Everybody wants to know some.
That is a individual के उस पर डिपेंड करता है कि किसमें आप कंफर्ट महसूस करते हैं. अगर आपको उसमें कंफर्ट है तो उसमें कर सकते हैं. The easiest way is what Rajshekhar told, कि जब आप सांस को आते जाते देखते हैं तो आपको calmness provide लगता है, calm लगता है. And that is my experience also.
Okay.
क्योंकि पूजा में जब हम मंत्र जाप करते हैं, that you are doing, you getting involved into it. हम जब मंत्र जाप करते हैं तो दिमाग डाइवर्ट होता है इधर से उधर. बहुत बार जो है ना जंप करता है और कुछ और सोचने लगता है. हम पढ़ तो रहे होते हैं मंत्र, मगर फोकस नहीं होता.
नहीं,
और या फिर जैसे जो हम पूजा के साथ साथ कुछ एक्टिविटी भी करते हैं, जैसे कि आपने ठाकुर जी को नहलाया धुलाया कुछ किया, तो उसमें आपका एक इन्वॉल्वमेंट हो जाता है. तो हो सकता है कि अगर आप मन से कर रहे हो तो आप अपने आप को इनर सेल्फ से जोड़ पा रहे हो. और बेमन से कर रहे हैं, टाइम पास कर रहे हैं कि भाई ये तो रूटीन है, डेली रिचुअल है, तो इट बिकम्स लाइक भाई जैसे हम अपना करते हैं रिचुअल्स, वैसे उनके लिए भी करना है.
Mileage will not make you reach anywhere. Mileage,
that will not make a ritual.
Mileage.
That's a ritual only.
Correct,
एक्चुअली
correct.
आश्रम में कुछ कुछ पार्ट होता है वो तो करने पड़ते, दैट इज 10% to 15%, 85% is visualization, pranayam, which happens within the puja, not it is not any mantra jap.
देखो
No
शुरुआत
mantra
में इन्वॉल्व करने के लिए वो आपको उसी तरह से इन्वॉल्व होंगे कि आपको मंत्र पढ़ना, आपको उनके साथ वो करना।
Actually, in a puja, you have, Shodash, there are 16 things you do. One of them is visualization, then pranayama, then archana. There are a number of things that we do in puja. So therefore, you see, the point is not to debate each of these in greater detail, because each person's experience will indicate what is valuable to him. So if Vishwarup has got tuned to a method of doing the puja, whether you call it puja or pranayama or visualization, he should stick to it, because ultimately it is by persisting in a practice that you get the benefit. That is the point, because if I don't have experience of the puja, I cannot really debate the puja. I can have a broad understanding. If you do not have experience of dhyan, then you will not be able to debate on dhyana. So everything depends upon personal experience. That is a point that I would like to make. And we need to pick out what we want to do, because our natures are all different. Someone may be tuned to doing a puja or visualization. Someone may be tuned to doing dhyana yoga. Someone may be tuned to, which is exactly what the shloka says. So all the debate upon what happens inside, in the detailing is actually fruitless, because you cannot match my experience. I cannot match your experience. And to talk about experiences in that sense does not help, because each one will bring to bear a unique benefit of the method that he or she adopts. So that's what we have to keep in mind. So my response was very broadly to Rajesh, saying that it will help if you simply watch your breath. If you're not doing anything else, if you already have a puja that you're doing, then ensure that you're fully involved in the puja and understand what you're doing. That's my advice to you. So let me circle back to Sunil ji. Your thoughts.
Yeah. See, मेरे यहाँ भी रोज पूजा का तरीका है, नियम है, बट हम लोग क्या करते हैं कि पर्सनली मुझे जो है ना, मुझे तो मतलब क्योंकि गीता से भी यही सीखा है कि सुप्रीम आपके अंदर है, तो मुझे तो ये लगता है कि जैसे गॉड इज लाइक अ फ्रेंड, तो जैसे हम फ्रेंड को ट्रीट करते हैं वैसे ही हम उनको ट्रीट करना चाहते हैं। तो और मेरे से अक्सर मैं शायद बताया होगा पहले, मैं करीब लास्ट 51 ईयर्स से कृष्ण झांकी लगाता हूँ काफी बड़े स्केल पर, तो बचपन से लगाता रहा हूँ। तो मेरे से अक्सर लोग समझते हैं मुझे, क्योंकि कभी कभी मैं नॉर्मल बातचीत में लोगों को अक्सर एथिस्ट महसूस होता हूँ, और जब खासतौर से अपने बच्चों को, और जब झांकी लगाता हूँ तो लोग समझते हैं कि ये बहुत बड़ा धर्मपरायण और पूजा वूजा करने वाला टाइप का आदमी है। जनरल पब्लिक फीलिंग यही जाती है कि बहुत बड़ा धर्मपरायण आदमी है। तो फिर मुझे मैं यही आंसर देता हूँ कि मतलब वो इवेंट्स मुझे अपने ऐसा लगता है कि जैसे वो जो सुप्रीम पावर जिसकी हम बात कर रहे हैं, जो सुप्रीम पावर जो हमें वो यंत्र की तरह चला रही है, तो वो शायद वो भी हमारी एक फ्रेंड है। तो फ्रेंड एक ऐसा मुझे जेनरिक वर्ड लगता है जो कि विच इज इजी टू एक्सप्लेन टू एवरीबॉडी, कि भाई फ्रेंडशिप में क्या होता है, आपके प्री कंडीशंस नहीं होते हैं। तो उन प्री कंडीशन से अगर हम बचना चाहते हैं तो हम जो भी चीज रिचुअल्स भी कर रहे हैं तो वो भी ठीक है, वो बिकॉज एवरीथिंग इज एक्सेप्टेबल देयर। हमें उस रिलेशनशिप में सब चीज एक्सेप्टेबल लगती है। बाकी रिलेशनशिप में मतलब हम लोग फॉर एग्जांपल बहुत ज्यादा अपने आप को काम कर चुके हैं, अभी पत्नी जरा से चाय में लेट कर देगी तो फिर हम डांट देंगे उसको, तो ये सब कामनेस हमारी धरी रह जाती है। तो इसलिए मतलब मैं तो इसलिए एवरी रिलेशनशिप में मुझे लगता है कि अगर वो फ्रेंड वाला एलिमेंट आ जाए तो सारी कंडीशंस एक्सेप्टेबल हो जाती है। जैसे आपने देखा होगा कि पत्नी भी धीरे धीरे बाद में, आप एज यू एज इन योर मैरिज, तो पत्नी भी आपकी दोस्त बन जाती है, क्योंकि वो आपकी डांट टपट को भी एक्सेप्ट करने लगती है और वो खुद भी आपको उससे ज्यादा डांटने लगती है। तो ये जो रिलेशनशिप डेवलप हो जाता है, तो ये मुझे लगता है कि शायद ईश्वर के साथ भी ये हो जाना चाहिए। मुझे ऐसा अपना पर्सनल फीलिंग है कि हम उनको भी उस तरह से एक्सेप्ट करने लगे और हमें लगे कि वो भी हमें पूरा एक्सेप्ट कर रहे हैं। और जब हमें दोनों तरफ से लगता है कि एक्सेप्टेंस कंप्लीट है तो ऑब्वियसली फिर हमारी चिंता कम हो जाती है, क्योंकि हमें लगता है कि भाई वो भी तो हमारी मदद करेगा ना, हम उसके लिए इतना सब कुछ कर रहे हैं। तो इसलिए हमें वो फीलिंग अपने आप आ जाती है। तो ये भी एक फॉर्म की भक्ति है मेरे ख्याल से, मुझे लगता है कि ये भी एक भक्ति का ही फॉर्म है।
Absolutely. In fact, what you're saying, Yeah, Rajesh.
अमिताभ बच्चन used to say in the last scene, खुश तो बहुत हो गए, मुझको मैं यहाँ आ गया हूँ शंकर के, तो उन्होंने अमिताभ बच्चन मतलब एक ही का डायलॉग बड़े एग्जैक्टली नहीं याद है मुझे, बट खुश तो बहुत हो गए मन में यहाँ पे बुला के, something like that feeling. Openly we should exchange the thoughts, just like Sunil said.
नहीं, मुझे पूरी कंडीशन ऐसी लगती है ना कि कभी कहते हैं कि भगवान से हम ये मांगते हैं कि ये करोगे तो मैं ये करूंगा, मैं इतने दिन तुम्हें दूध चढ़ाऊंगा अगर तुम मेरा ये काम कर दोगे, तो ये प्री कंडीशंस लगती है मुझे, तब हमारा रिलेशनशिप डिफरेंट है। तो हम वहां पर भी शर्तें लगाने लग
गिव एंड
जाते हैं।
टेक वाला होता है, तब गिव एंड टेक वाला होता है।
हाँ, तब वो गिव एंड टेक जैसा रिलेशनशिप है। तो ये इसीलिए मुझे लगता है कि इसमें दोस्ती में सरल है समझाना, क्योंकि इसमें प्री कंडीशन नहीं है यार, ठीक है तुम मस्त हो मैं भी मस्त हूँ दोनों मस्त हैं।
Yeah, so mostly, we have practices that each one would have, which we need to understand in the context of the Gita. So Gita gives a broad framework.
Yeah.
So Gita does not say you give up what you're doing totally. You look at what you're doing, understand it in the context of the teachings, because the teachings are very broad. And we have to understand that the Gita is acceptable to all traditions in India. There is not one sampradaya which says, "Bhai, humko Gita ki message pasand nahi hai." In fact, Gita is so popular that everybody will interpret the Gita according to their sampradaya. Correct? If I am a Jnana Yogi, I'll interpret as though the entire thing is only Jnana Yoga. If I'm a Bhakti Yogi, I'll interpret. So that's the popularity. And therefore, our objective is to get more and more familiar with the Gita so that we can take whatever message we want from the Gita in our context. See, Gita does not say you follow everything, right? यथेच्छसि तथा करो, जो आपकी इच्छा है, जो आपके दिल के करीब है वो करो. So we have to again and again remember, तो भाई मेरी इच्छा आपकी इच्छा से अलग होगी ना. So we cannot really debate each other's ichha, but as long as it is in the framework of the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord is quite fine with everything that we do, because he's given you a question paper, but there are a lot of choices. So you can actually eliminate what you don't feel comfortable with and answer only what you are comfortable with. That's what we have to actually ultimately. So that is what is meant by Sarva Dharman Parityajya. If you want, you can say that I am submitting the answer sheet with no answers at all. Or you can pick up whichever answer that you feel comfortable with. That is the freedom that Bhagwan has given to us. So that's the amazing thing. So I guess we have about 6 minutes left. It's been a wonderful discussion today, especially since it has been on the last few shlokas of the Gita. So this is almost like the charama discussion. Charama shloka to hai, charama discussion bhi hai. So very wonderful discussion. Of course, we'll meet on Tuesday once again, so that Vishnu can also join, and we will complete the 4-5 shlokas from the 11th chapter, which is on the cosmic. There also we will have an element of nuclear engineering. Okay, we will look at that, how it is related. It's very interesting. So on that count, Thank you so much, and I look forward to catching up with you guys on Tuesday morning, which is the 17th. Yeah, take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.